Crank it, Liege. Greetings, I'm Chappers.
And I'm the captain.
Victory, Lee.
V for victory.
Victory and valves and other great things that begin with V.
Do you know what? I can only think of two and I can't say either of them.
Right.
Another one.
Okay.
Variety.
Variety.
Volkswagen.
Remember variety shows?
I do.
They were great, weren't they?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
So,
it's a Victory app. It's the V130.
Yes. Really, off the back of the popular... Well, so let's give you the full Victory potted history. Back in 2014, I think it was, after a request from Guthrie Govan for a sort of an amp that he could fly around the world with and pop in the overhead luggage compartment of an aeroplane.
It would grow wings and pull him.
Yeah, the little compact V30 was born, the Countess from Victory, and it sort of propelled Victory from, you know, sort of niche boutique little hand-wired guitar amp builder from Essex in the UK to, you know, one of the most popular sort of emerging amp brands of the last 10 years. And Victory went, oh, that little compact format seems popular. So out came the V40 Duchess and the Kraken and all that kind of stuff. And then when they did the Sheriff, which was the sort of the British Marshall-y kind of vibe thing, again, for no reason other than I think they thought it looked nice. They did two versions of the Sheriff. They did the compact one in the metal box, and then they did a slightly louder one in a wooden box. And really, from what I understand from Martin, it was purely that they wanted to do the wooden one because it looked a bit more conventional, more traditional, not conventional.
Guitar players don't like change, and having a wooden sleeve makes things easier, doesn't it, to look at?
And then it was like, well, that's kind of cool. And what the wooden case one did was it just created a bit more space inside the amp. And so Martin, you know, would think to himself, well, now that we've got a bit more space, I guess we could make it a bit more powerful, put a few more knobs in there. And so the idea is all of the compact series is being revisited to go, what could its bigger brother look like? So there's obviously a Sheriff 22 and a Sheriff 44. There's a V40 compact and a V40 deluxe, bigger one. Now there is a Countess and a Super Countess, the V130. And I believe at some point later this year there'll be a kind of like a Super Kraken or something as well. So the V130 essentially retains the sort of the spirit of the Countess. So similar kind of set of knobs and, you know, 2-channel and that kind of functionality.
I'm just hearing all the comments going, Super Kraken? Oh my God, I can't believe you said Super. Did you hear Super Kraken confirmed?
I don't know if that, again,
Super Kraken confirmed.
Forget I don't know what it might be called, but that's what I hear is sort of at some point in the pipeline. Rabir will know more about that than I will. So what we've got inside the Super Countess now is a new 100-watt power section, as opposed to the sort of the 40-watt power section of the original one. We've still got 2 channels, but what we've now got is a switchable voice and a foot switchable voice for that matter on each channel. So clean can go between clean and crunch. Overdrive can go between voice 1 and voice 2. We'll demo those in a minute. And there's no reverb built in, so you still have to have an effects loop. You've got separate master volume for clean, separate master volume for overdrive, 2 output modes, so high and low.
And a preheat.
Preheat?
In case your turkey needs quite a long cook because it's frozen, so you preheat it. Tell them about that while I get a different guitar, because I want to try some simulations.
I saw Victory stop using the term standby and change it to preheat about a year ago, and so I phoned up and went, why that? And apparently, according to them, that the the wonderful people in the European Commission who employ 8 billion people to come up with pointless rules all day long decided that the use of the term standby on a valve amplifier might be confused with the term standby on a television, and people might then just leave their amps on standby sort of 24 hours a day like you would do on a television.
All of them.
Which I hope you don't. Which, potentially is not good for the amp or for anything, really. So, yes, they said, according to the law, it has to be referred to as preheat.
European bureaucrats!
As far as I can see, Victory appear to be the only brand that have done that, so clearly it's not that important a law. Nobody cares. But it's, yes, preheat instead of standby. Let's go through some.
Yeah, because I started off on the PRS just because it was nice and looks pretty.
Do you want to change ends of lead so that you don't have the right angled end?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. So we're going to go between clean and crunch now.
That's nice.
Yeah. So this is a Seymour Duncan Jazz and a Seymour Duncan JB at the bridge.
Stuff people are familiar with.
Yeah, and if you go positions 2 and 4 are kind of coil tapped.
It's nice, crispy clean, isn't it?
It's got tons more clean headroom than the V30 has, as you would expect. 4 12AX7s or ECC 83s in the preamp and 4 6L6s in the power amp. I believe, although again I might be making this up, but I'm pretty sure, as with the regular Countess, if you want to, you can change the power tubes in this to EL34s and rebias it. So let's go between, should we just enable crunch?
Enable crunch, please.
Okay.
Just start to get the notes to sting a little bit,
So it's not like a separate channel crunch. There's no control that allows you to sort of define how much crunchier it might be than the clean sound. It's just simply a switch that goes from a clean voice like this. Great.
Yeah.
Apart from the Boss reverb pedal, we haven't got any other.
Well, here's without
pedals.
the reverb.
That is drier than Gandhi's flip-flop, that one, isn't it? That is, I do like a bit of reverb. Okay, so now let's just, from what I understand as well, there were some comments on the original Countess that found it a little bit bassy.
It was a bit dark.
And a little bit dark.
Yeah.
And I think that has been addressed on the Super Countess in that it's not quite so bassy and it's a little bit brighter. Now, of course, you've still got plenty of EQ. If you liked the bass, you can dial it back in. If you liked the darkness, you can drive the take the treble off. They were. Justin Hawkins.
Yeah.
I'm sure, what did he get in touch with the other day? He got in touch with me for something, well, not me, but with Andertons for something the other day, but I can't remember what it was. Presumably to buy a guitar. So let's go over to channel 2. Now, channel 2 has 2 voice switches. Voice 2 is more authentic to the original Countess, so it's got that heavy bass end.
Right.
Voice 1 is different. You know, again, ask Martin and Robert about that, because I think they were the main tinkerers. So here we go, we're on voice 1.
Tinkerers. Wow! Can I roll a little bit of that low off?
Oh, of course.
Just, and put a bit more of that mid in.
Of course.
Just a touch more trebs. That's a nice sound.
It's great, doesn't it?
It's thick.
Martin does do a good naughty gain sound, and Robert has added some salt and pepper that's just brought out the flavour a little bit more. Right.
What's the other voice then?
The other voice, here we go. I think it's almost more gainy but more bassy as well.
It is, yeah.
So.
I'm sorry, but if that isn't one of the best rock metal tones I've ever heard, that's it.
It's great. Sugar!
Sold!
My cornflakes.
That's great.
This sounds good, doesn't it? And again, we're on we're on the high mode, because I kind of think the high mode allows the bass end to come through a bit better, but we're only at like 9 o'clock on the volume. There's
Mayhaps I
loads
just
more.
put a little bit more.
You can dial it all in.
Like a lead tone.
Yeah.
And then let's just see.
I mean, you might find that voice 1 is better for the lead tone because it's got a bit less bass end on
let's
it.
try that.
Well, okay, yeah, let's
It's really thick.
It's really
It's got
thick,
that Joe Satch lead thickness to it. You want
that's
to
a
put a while
Guthrie
with
thing.
it.
I think that's definitely. I mean, you're right.
I think it's a Martin Kidd thing. I bet he makes a great gravy.
Of course. I don't know why I say it. The reason Guthrie uses these amps is because of the. It's that you're completely right. It's a Martin Kidd thing.
Like I said, I bet Martin makes a great gravy because he
does make
thick,
a great
it's
gravy.
Dark, it's got all the components.
Yeah.
It's but
it's got no lumpy bits in it.
What it is when one note is thick enough that it will sustain a melody.
It does sound great.
Then you've got that kind of. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, this is we've borrowed this from Victory because the amps aren't as yet in full production. So
this is a prototype.
Annoying things like the fact that the screws either side of the Victory logo
almost annoyed
aren't
that I
the
noticed
right
them.
colour will be fixed. Panic not.
Tipex.
We can Tipex. Yeah, we should have probably just Tipex those out, shouldn't we?
Should we put all
They'll
together?
be white.
Other
Other than that, this is pretty much the finished article. I tell you what, I'm going to say now. I know because I'm a member of the Victory Facebook group thing, that I know that a lot of people would have liked the V30 to have separate EQ for each channel, so you can have your dedicated clean EQ and your dedicated lead EQ. But of course, there is a physical problem putting another 3 knobs onto a panel.
There's a space here that you could have put knobs up here, couldn't you?
Well, I suppose so, but I think there's a cost side of things. I mean, if you look at the Victory V100, which does have separate EQ on each channel, you know, it's like it's a wider head with 2 rows of knobs. It looks a bit intimidating, and of course has a cost implication as well.
Right.
So I think the answer to anybody that perhaps thinks I'd like separate EQ for each channel is as simple as buying a Boss or an MXR graphic EQ, putting it through the effects loop of the amplifier, and just changing, you know, just stomping on an EQ.
Maybe it's
buy an amp, yeah, with 2 channels.
Maybe it's not the right amp for you, you know.
Absolutely.
Maybe. So what does this set you back in Imperial credits?
Do you know what? I suddenly thought to myself, I actually don't know yet. I don't even know if pricing has been finalised yet. It's somewhere around about the 1,300-y mark.
Right.
But I'll put a link in the description section below that by the time this video comes out, I think we'll know for sure.
And these are it comes with a muffin warming tray here.
Muffin warming tray. These are built in the UK.
Right.
The cabinet is the same 2x12 black cabinet that has been sold with the regular Countess. So if you are a regular Countess user and just fancy upgrading the head, you don't need to change your cabinet as well. This speaker cabinet has 2 vintage 30 Celestion vintage 30 speakers in it. But yeah, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to max out the game with you playing. I'd like to invite Rabiza in. I'd like to invite Pete Honorian.
Do you want to play, Lee?
I will, and we'll say goodbye now, but we can end this video with a collage of 3 of the finest players ever to, you know...
and me.
And me, I was going to say. 3 of the finest players to ever
give me
come to
Give me that
Andertons.
war then.
Oh, you're just going for it, are you?
For that war.
Woo!
There it is. Put a gain on. Put a gain on.
Sugar!
Sold!
My cornflakes.
This is Rory from the UK. Tell me about Rory.
So he edits videos. Rory's awesome.
Yeah!